So we're studying ecology now. This is our last topic, and ecology is the study of living things and how they interact with each other and the non-living parts of their environment. So we're going to start out by reviewing what biotic and abiotic means. Remember that biotic factors are living parts of an ecosystem. So there's a ton of examples: oak tree, earthworm, bass, robin, shelf fungus, person, wolf. Those are all biotic or living things. Bacteria are living. Remember, living things are made of cells, grow, develop, and die, reproduce, obtain, and use energy. Okay? So, and are made of cells. So that's the most important thing. Remember that abiotic factors are physical or non-living parts of an ecosystem. They're non-living and they never lived. So we're not talking about, a dead fish because it's made of cells. Abiotic factors are not made of cells. So water, rock, air, sunlight. Those are examples of abiotic factors in an environment. Not living and never lived. So now we're going to move on to levels of organization. We talked about atoms and molecules and organelles and cells and tissues and organ systems. And then when you put a bunch of organ systems together, you get an organism. That's one living thing capable of carrying out the 8 life processes. So I'm going to use these circles over here to just show you how levels of organization increase up from one organism. And for this example, I always use a penguin because it's easy for me to draw. So there's my one penguin. It is one organism, one living thing. Now, the next level of organization is a population. A population is all individuals of the same species, and that's the most important part. It has to be the same species that live in the same area. So many penguins living together in one area is a population. Another example is like a herd of deer, a flock of geese. Those are populations. They are the same organism. The people of Sanborn, New York. That's a population. We know that in an area, there's not just one population. There's other groups of species in the same organism. So when you group all of the populations of different species that interact within an area, that's called a community. So in our penguins community, we would add to all the penguins maybe birds, whale, fish, seaweed, algae, maybe a seal. All of these things are living. That's a really important thing to know, and I wrote it over here. An organism is one living or biotic thing. Many organisms of the same species, a population, that's all living things of the same species. A community is all biotic organisms. We're not talking about anything that's abiotic. So I didn't draw any air or sun or soil over here because a community only includes things that are biotic or living. Once we add in abiotic factors, we're going to call it an ecosystem. So an ecosystem is an area that contains all living and non-living parts of the environment that interact. Okay, because we need abiotic factors. We need air, we need sun. So in this bigger circle, not only do I have my penguin and my fish and my seaweed and my whale and my birds, I added ice and water and clouds and sunlight. Those are the abiotic factors. Now I can call this an ecosystem because it's the living parts and the non-living parts. The next step up we call a biome. A biome is a very large area characterized by certain climate and types of plants and animals. So you have the Arctic biome, the Antarctic, the rainforest biome, the desert biome, the savanna biome. Remember, and kids always forget this, our biome that we live in is the deciduous forest biome. We live in an area that has trees that lose their leaves. That's what deciduous means. We actually live on the boundary between the deciduous forest and the coniferous forest, which would be the evergreen forest. If you go further north, there's more evergreens and less deciduous trees. If you go further south than us, there's more deciduous trees and less evergreen trees, okay, naturally. And then the largest level of organization is the biosphere. It is the part of Earth, including air, land, surface rocks, and water, within which life occurs. So the biosphere is like the whole planet that supports life. As you move forward next year, these levels of in earth science, these levels of organization will increase still. So the Earth is part of our solar system and galaxy, and it does get bigger. So those are the ecological levels of organization.